Donations without donors. How does the occupying entity own the largest bank of human skins in the world? In 2014, in a room in a medical building in occupied Palestine, two interviewers from Hebrew television stood with Dr. Malaka Shout, the head of the Israel Skin Bank. They conducted an investigative interview with her about this unique bank. The interviewer asked her about the bank's stock and its ranking among the world's banks. Shout answers that it is the biggest on Earth. She looks surprised before her colleague asks, "What is the percentage of organ donation given the small population?" The doctor coolly told him, "They barely donate." That short scene raises questions about the source of these skins, and even the source of the human organs filling the refrigerators of medical institutions in the occupation. If Jews are strongly reluctant to donate for biblical or other reasons, where does all this stock come from? This question was so logical that the interviewer directed it to the bank official. The interviewer asked, "Who are these others?" The answer, Palestinians and African immigrants. In 1989, during a battle of the resistance against the occupation in the neighborhood of Shujaya in the Gaza Strip, resistance fighter Mohammed Abu al-Nasser was martyred by enemy bullets. As a martyr is not to be washed or shrouded, the next logical step is burial. But Abu al-Nasser was not buried at that time because his body was stolen by the enemy. After negotiations and pressure from the Red Cross, the occupation returned Abu al-Nasser's body to his family in a closed coffin. It contained a headless body, which had nothing to do with the deceased. What happened with Abu al-Nasser has happened and is still happening to hundreds of others. According to Dr. Munir al-Barsh, Director General of the Ministry of Health in Gaza, the occupation stole at least 120 bodies of the martyrs from the hospital yard. The Al-Shifa incident was not a novelty. Rather, it is a fact of the Zionist methodology of stealing the bodies of Palestinians. Among them are over 250 bodies, all stolen since 1967 and buried in the cemetery of numbers. Over 100 others have been preserved in mortuary refrigerators since 2015, with conditions that they are not to be autopsied and are to be buried secretly at night. After all that, the question arises, what happens to these bodies? During 8 years, Bostrom worked on it until it was released in 2009, on the pages of the Swedish magazine Aftonbladet, to tell us about the drain of the bodies. Vital organs, skins, and all that can be transplanted in the bodies of others, subject to theft at the hands of occupation doctors. Bostrom also reported that in 1992, the Ministry of Health in Israel launched a national campaign to encourage settlers and the people of the entity to donate their organs. However, this campaign failed miserably and did not achieve what was required. At that time, the occupation could only kidnap many Palestinian youth before returning them to their families in closed coffins after robbing their organs. All of this was with the knowledge of UN staff who were prevented from doing anything about it. All of this is corroborated by the testimony of Meira Weiss in the above documentary. In it, she tells us about her tenure at the Abu Kabir Institute of Forensic Medicine in Tel Aviv and how in just 8 years she saw a lot of theft of Palestinian body organs, while no body of a Zionist soldier was touched. She says literally, they take the corneas, skin and heart valves, in a way that the absence of these organs is unnoticed by non-specialists, replacing the corneas with plastic objects and removing the skin from the back so that the family does not see it. In addition, the bodies of martyrs are being used in medical schools at Israeli universities for research purposes. This is confirmed by the Zionist physician Yehuda Hess as a former director of the Medico-Legal Institute in Israel. He says, "We took corneas, skin, heart valves and bones from the bodies of Palestinian martyrs. Everything that was done was largely informal. The consent from the families of those killed was not taken. With the worsening of the reputation of body thefts in recent years, an official at the Israeli organization Doctors for Human Rights said that in just a quarter of a century, there have been many documented reports of the theft of Palestinian organs and skins. This may be repeated with the stolen bodies of Al-Shifa Hospital. With the multiplicity of testimonies and reports about this crime, one look at the numbers will suffice. As with 170 square meters of skin inside the Israeli bank, the largest in the world, which surpasses even its American counterpart founded 40 years ago. With the difference in population density between the US and the entity, in addition to the Jewish reluctance to donate, it will become clear beyond any doubt the scale of the thefts we are talking about. The question remains, why does the occupation continue its crime against the Palestinians in this way? In the book State of Exception, the Italian philosopher Giorgio Agamben coined a distinctive term to express the human being who is subject in all aspects to the politics and philosophy of the modern state, forbidden man, or the lawful person without rights. No matter what legislation and laws claim otherwise, there is no evidence of this human being who is lawful more than the stolen human being of Palestine, the noble fighter who does not accept indignity despite trials of the enemy. But because this criminal and defeated enemy has nothing to win facing the dignity of the free, it deliberately desecrates them in every possible way. May they win some victory for their fragile selves. Therefore, stealing bodies comes for a moral purpose greater than a profit goal. It is a kind of collective punishment of the families of the martyrs for the bravery of their sons and the pride of their souls. It doesn't stop at stealing bodies. Rather, it extends to abusing families demolishing their homes, arresting them, and stressing everyone who contacts them. If you look at the veil that covers the faces of the lions of the struggle, you will know why these heroes hid their faces. They do not fear death for themselves, which they stormed its lair, but to protect their families from the absolute Zionist invasion of the Palestinian body. That invasion that does not end with organs and skins theft. Rather, it extends to the maximum areas of criminality and brutality. In a research by a professor of criminology at the Hebrew University, Nadera Shalhoub, she reveals that the occupation conducts continuous experiments on Palestinian children and prisoners, including tests on new weapons such as gas bombs, in addition to other clinical trials conducted by major pharmaceutical companies with the permission of the occupation, in which Palestinian prisoners are used as experimental mice for their drugs. What M.K. Dalia Itzik supported. She gave testimony that the Israeli Ministry of Health conducted about 6,000 annual drug experiments on Palestinian and Arab prisoners. It is a series of abuses that began with the invasion of the land and reached the point of desecrating the body in the hands of its creator, in a savagery that even beasts and lowest animals do not reach. But it is no wonder that this is the present of those who based their history on looting and bloodshed. The martyrs are not harmed with what is done to their bodies, but their enemy is shamed with it in this world and the hereafter. Are they waiting except for the same punishment that befell those who came before them? Say, then wait. I too am waiting with you.